Hello, I'm Alex Mansfield, the host of Manny Talks Shooting, and welcome to another episode. This is the shooting podcast where I talk to individuals all across the shooting industry. We'll talk competition, self-defense, concealed carry. If you like this content, check out our YouTube channel, Manny Talks Shooting. And without further ado, let's get to this episode. Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Manny Talks Shooting, the shooting podcast on the internet because it needs to be somewhere because it can't happen in person. So we're doing it online because that's what you enjoy. But anyway, let's get through the title sponsor of the podcast. Go Fast, Don't Suck. Besides, this hat sits right next to me in my recording studio. It recovers my receding hairline, and I know you're tired of getting that joke, but it's a fabulous hat. So go check them out. GoFastDon'tSuck.net. You get your match jerseys, match banners if you're a match, hoodies, hats, dry fire targets, whatever you need, or even the hurtful memes on the internet, even though they've been a little slow lately. But anyway, without further ado, let's get into the real topic of why we're here. We are sitting down with Mr. Josh Carde B. I'm going to botch your last name, so you can go and tell the world what that is.
It's Cardenas. I go with just Cardenas. It's
There
usually
you go.
Cardenas, typically with Hispanics, but it's just say Cardenas.
All right, fair enough. There we go, everybody. We're sitting down with Josh. We're going to talk about him. You might not know about him, but you will by the time we're done with this. So, Josh, I guess we'll break the ice. Who are you, and how'd you get into shooting?
Yeah, so I'm Josh Cardenas, born and raised in Southern California. Didn't get into competitive shooting until about 2019. That was actually when I got introduced by the Marine Corps shooting team, and that's actually where that kind of sparked. So got introduced in 2019, got picked up as a summer shooter with the team at the time, and spent a season with them. I shot three gun for 3 months. And from then on, I was trying to go back to the team permanently, but I already had orders at the time. I had already had orders to go to another unit, and I was required to do that. So I took about 2 years off from even going near competitive sports. And I didn't. I eventually just kind of caught back up after I got back from our UDP, and I touched USPSA. That's actually where I got kind of like that start. It was USPSA, and I started in May of 21, and then just I couldn't stop from there.
Fair enough. Now, you said you're from Southern California. Did you grow up with firearms in the household, or was that something completely new until when you went into the military?
Yeah, no, I knew I always loved firearms in general. Just since I was a kid, I just liked having like a toy gun or something. But my family was they were very much against guns, right?
Hmm.
It was a, very Southern California thing to do, right? But no, firearms was not a very prominent thing in my life. I wish it was, and I took any opportunity to play with something that dealt with a firearm or a gun, and just I just wanted to be able to play with something at the time. And then it wasn't until I got into about high school where airsoft at the time was pretty big, and that was like my only, I guess, platform I can go into to even like have something that's similar to a firearm. And it wasn't until yes, the military where I got to actually pursue shooting as a sport.
Gotcha. Now, that's pretty impressive, and that's an interesting way of how you do it through the airsoft and whatnot. Because I assumed with Southern California, not the most gun friendly place as it is
Mhm.
now, but so that's kind of cool. So, what made you decide I want to be a Marine?
It was I always had a I always wanted to be in the military, and after I graduated high school, I wanted to go right off the bat. I actually had an interest in the Air Force originally, but funny enough, they denied me because I had a peanut allergy. Yeah, so I wasn't allowed to go, and so I was like, okay, well, I guess the military's not for me. At that time, I was a little, I didn't have perspective. I didn't understand what else was out there per se. So I ended up going to community college and then, started working, but life kind of cut up and I needed to make a decision. And I looked at the Marine Corps. A couple of buddy of mine, old buddy of mine was like, yeah, try it, man. I've had a great time. It was a good opportunity. So I was like, you know what? Why not? I'm 22, 23. That's where I was. And I was like, let's just go for it. I'm not gonna, if I wait, it's just gonna be kind of a regret at that point. So I went for it.
Fair enough, and we thank you for your service, sir. It's nice to give back to you guys and talk to you and let's know more about you. So
Appreciate the support.
you're up. So you're in the Marine. So you joined. You became part of the Marine Corps shooting team. How did that go? Like, did someone recruit you, or did you have to try out, apply? How'd that work?
So the team at the time, this was late 2018, so like the end of 2018, and so at the time the team was traveling. They traveled to every region of the Marine Corps.
Mm-hmm.
They go to first, second, third, and essentially fourth Mardiv and well says, but basically like all the major locations of the Marine Corps.
Mm-hmm.
And they host a competition, a 2 week event called, at the time it was called the division matches, and now they're called the what we call MIC or Marine Marksmanship Competition. I'm sorry, Marine comp. Oh my goodness, Marine Competition Marksmanship Competition. One of those things. Anyway, it's a whole it's a 2 week event where we for the first week they host a basically a training iteration. So they go through every discipline that we shoot on the team, and then we do a week of competition based off those disciplines. And that was actually where I got the start. So back in when I was stationed in Okinawa, that's where they were coming through. I shot this match. I was just asked if I wanted to go shoot a match at right outside of the location I was at, and I was like, yeah, why not? So I pursued it and ended up doing really well. I got invited to go to the championship, which is held here at Quantico, Virginia, and that's actually where I got selected to be a summer shooter. So, and that's how I got that start from then on.
Gotcha. Impressive. Now, what I'm assuming what it was like what disciplines were in this training slash competition?
Yeah, at the time it was split between bullseye, so bullseye rifle, bullseye pistol, and action,
Mm-hmm.
which was split between USPSA and 3 gun. Now it was we have formatted differently where we're now more focused on the PRS side, USPSA, and then 3 gun. So each team essentially takes a very specific task or discipline that they kind of, we'll call it, teach on, and then they obviously go when they go into their comp season, they'll focus on that sport.
Gotcha. That makes sense. So, I guess what was the next thing I was going to ask? So you said you were in Okinawa. Did
Mhm.
where did you get moved around a lot, or were you in Okinawa and then back to then to Quantico?
No, yeah, so that was my first duty station. I got went straight to Oki, and then I got stationed in Lejeune, so that was up in North
Mhm.
Carolina, and that's actually where I started my USPSA I guess journey. Starting from there, I got there. We had to go back to Okinawa as a what we call UDP, or essentially a deployment. And then it wasn't until I got back where I started. That was about May 21, where I started USPSA. And I had a couple of friends of mine who, one is on the team right now, and another who's living not too far from here. We traveled all over North Carolina, shooting any match we possibly could, and it was week by week. And that's where I started my very vigorous dry fire sessions, as I would call it. So that's just how I was very obsessed with the sport, so I just wanted to focus on it every single day.
Gotcha. That's impressive. So, when you came into the sport, I'm assuming at this point you probably came in carry optics.
I did, yeah. I
Mhm.
was very fortunate. So my buddy Frank Gow,
Mhm.
he was very generous, and I'm very grateful for his help because he actually gave me a rig to work with. Because at the time I was a corporal and going to sergeant, and again we don't make surprise surprise, we don't make that much money. So affording this type of sport is not easy, right? But he was very generous in letting me borrow his one of his Shadow 2s and his one of his belts, and I just went from there. I just bought some ammo, and I would dry fire every single day, focusing on very specific things based off of what I learned on the teams when I was a summer shooter. And we just traveled, just shot any match we possibly could every weekend over in North Carolina.
Mhm. Oh, that's pretty cool. Now, if you could remember back then, what is your
Mhm.
favorite, or even now, what is your favorite match to go to in North Carolina?
Oh, Sir Walter, hands
Mhm.
down.
Yeah.
Sir Walter, absolutely.
Yeah, everyone. I think everyone agrees with you. Although I would hate to shoot their walls because they're PVC, and then you have to replace
Yeah,
them.
we have the same thing. We hosted one over here called QSC. That's Tim Hitchak. Uh,
Hmm.
I know him as Major Hitchak. Yeah, that's all of his materials is PVC. So when we blow his walls up, he gets pissed off, and we have to fix them after the match.
Well, maybe if he stopped shooting limited, he wouldn't blow the walls up with his iron sights.
Oh, he's been carry optics for a minute. I just make fun of him because he shoots a Tampo.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I remember what last year you guys all came to Area 5 and everyone
Uh-huh.
on the squad, your guys the Marine squad was shooting carry optics except him. He had to shoot
Yeah.
40 cal.
Yeah. Yeah, no more. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it was, and honestly, that was a highlight for us on our squad, on our stage was when you guys rolled through. It was very impressive because nobody was slacking. Because if anybody slacked, they were all getting their ass kicked.
Yeah. That's fun.
Yeah. Now, I guess I have a question about that. How was it? Like y'all came to Area 5 as a unit, essentially. One big squad. Did y'all have to bunk up? I'm assuming in the hotel rooms, or
Now we are fortunate to have to only do two to a room. So
yeah.
uh yeah, so we get two to a room, uh and if we have to do a third, then it is what it is. But that's whatever we can afford, we'll make it work.
Right. Yeah. Now, that's pretty impressive. Now, it was on the team. Is everyone super competitive? Is everyone super close, or is there a big discrepancy between, say, like yourself and like another member?
No, no, yeah, we're very close. So, just to clarify, though, I just recently moved from the team to a new group. Actually, I'm
Hmm.
wearing the shirt, funny enough. But yeah, no, yeah, we're very close.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's competitiveness is important, obviously, right? We want to be able to beat each other, and it's harder when we're obviously all shooting the same division, but we want to stay in the most competitive division. So that part, kind of gets like, all right, well, do we want to have some diversity and spread out the love, so to speak? But no, we just have a good time. So it's
That's
always a
awesome.
good time.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Now, when you finally got your own rig, I'm assuming,
Mhm.
what platform did you end up choosing?
So I continued on with the Shadow 2. I did that for about close to 2 seasons, and then it kind of gradually moved on. Um, I kind of went actually this recently. This was probably like within the last season, so to speak. I kind of went back and forth with different platforms just to try it out.
Hmm.
Tried the rival. I tried some SIGs, tried the Glock, tried the PDP. Tried just I wanted to kind of taste different flavors and see what maybe there's something else out there.
Hmm.
Um, I love this. I love the Shadow 2, especially when you build them up, occasion eyes, all that stuff. But when you touch the same gun for a long time, it kind of gets boring. At a certain point, at least for me, I want to have some, just change. Sometimes it's kind of makes it interesting.
Hmm.
And so I actually, I wouldn't say I retired it, but I definitely have put the Shadow down and focused on using a Sig now.
Hmm.
Um, aside from the PCC, which I'm sure we'll go into.
Hmm.
But yeah, just kind of stayed with Shadow for a while, and then just kind of faded a little bit, but still love it.
Right. Now, is it maybe because you've gone to the SIG purely because of the same platform that you and the Marine Corps are using, or just wanting to dabble into other
Yeah,
guns?
yeah, it's partly that because I shoot an M18 and an M17 a lot for work,
Hmm.
so I didn't want to, I guess so to speak, reteach my index points on the Shadow. When the grip angle and all that stuff is already kind of, I guess, tuned to a SIG. So I just kind of figure that if I'm going to put so much time at work with SIG or this platform, I might as well just stick with it, and just it just my ecosystem is a little bit more tuned to a SIG anyway, so it just makes sense. It
Hmm.
was just a smart choice.
Right. Now,
Yeah.
and say your competition SIG, is it like a Legion or is it like an M18, M17 that you've thrown an extra heavy grip on it and whatnot?
Uh, in mine right currently it's actually a mixed mash of different parts. I have a Legion slide, um, with a SRO, and then I have a Browers uh, grip module, and then I have a stock FCU that I actually won at nationals last year from the stock stick that I got from that, and I just kind of slapped a flat the Legion sugar shoe on it. I
Hmm.
replaced a sear and a couple springs from Grays, but it was just like a drop in, and that's it.
Okay.
Yeah, just kind of threw parts together and kind of worked.
Right. Fair enough. I mean, might as well, right? Free stuff is free stuff.
Yeah.
But exactly. So I do want to get into why you switched over to PCC. What kind of drew you over to shooting PCC over carry optics when carry optics has so many shooters in it?
Yeah, it honestly just kind of happened. So David Ankeny, who's one of the teammates over with Da Vinci, we've seen him and shot with him a lot over the past like year or two, just at matches because he's local to us, and he's an old Marine, so we kind of go back and forth with the young and old kind of stuff. But he um he found out I was moving from the team to do this new program that we're doing, and that allowed an open door for me to pursue sponsorships. Because when you're on the team, you're not allowed to pursue that stuff because technically the Marine Corps is your sponsorship, and
Hmm.
you can't associate obviously brands and things like that with the Marine Corps, things like that. But now that I was pretty much, I guess, free to do so, he just asked me like, "Hey, do you want to? Are you interested in maybe shooting PCC? And would you be interested in joining the team?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm definitely open to it." And it happened because I asked one of my buddies if I could borrow his PCC because I just wanted to try it. The idea of just going fast, not having to reload, and it's just pure speed, just raw time, baby, go. I was like, yeah, why not try it? So it looked really fun, and that's kind of just where that started. David got me in contact with David Padovan, the owner, and it just kind of sparked from there.
Well, that's pretty cool. And you've been rocking PCC what, almost a season now, fully, or not
Uh, I
quite?
start I started in
Okay.
January, technically. I think my first Yes, yeah, I think my first technically major was Caribbean. I think it was January, February was one. It's December, January, somewhere in there. That's where I
Hmm.
started.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Now, you're shooting PCC. I mean, it's probably not exactly like a duty rifle for you, but pretty similar, I'm assuming. At least all the controls are, at least. I mean, a rifle is a
Right.
rifle. Now,
Close enough.
now have you tried, I'm curious, have you tried putting an LPVO on top of your PCC yet?
No, no, I don't think I will. Because again, I have two sides, right?
Hmm.
I either have my work stuff, things that are more, in the marksmanship side, tactical side, right? Military side. And then I have like my comp stuff, and I just I don't have one to put slap on there. Funny enough, so I'm not saying I won't, but I just haven't just because I haven't.
Right. I mean,
Yeah,
because
I'm down to try it.
right, because I mean, at least it seems like on the tactical side, or like at least on the in the civilian tactical side, they're like, oh, everyone's got to run an LPVO on their with an offset dot, and it seems like it's, I don't know, I, I like LPVOs. Like, I mean, my rifle at home, all of
Mhm.
them have LPVOs with offset dots, but that's because I'm lazy, I guess. But
Right. I mean, there's if I'm shooting a pistol caliber carbine, I'm not realistically. I shouldn't be slapping an LPPO on it.
I
That
mean,
round is not capable of what that optic is supposed to be, doing
oh,
for it.
agreed, but it's definitely a definite me. Like if you're going to a meme match, it'd be perfect.
Oh,
But
okay.
no, I mean,
Miles, yeah.
are you shooting the donut? Are you shooting a dot? What like? Or are you doing a
Yeah,
combination?
it's a no, it's a full, it's a two tech zero, so it's just a normal EOTech. It's a 65 mm circle with a single dot in the center,
Okay,
and that's it. Super
right.
simple, and yeah, it just works. I'll run
Now,
it.
have you been able to find? I'm assuming that like you can put the outside of the ring on an A zone and be pretty much fine, right?
Yeah, yeah, I like it that way.
Hmm.
It's just easier for at least for my eyes to kind of guess reference on the target. So if I know that the circle is within the alpha zone, I'm going to most of the time, unless I'm doing my part, I'm going to get two alphas. And then if I'm getting anything closer than that, I just use, I think it's at least for mine because I do a 25 meter zero 7 and in. I'm using the bottom of the hash,
Hmm.
and it's basically point of aim, point of impact for the double bottom of the hash.
Okay, fair enough. So, you've been shooting PCC for about, well, since about January, February, because we can't remember quietly. But
Yeah.
were you loading ammo prior to being part of Outdoor Dynamics, or were you buying it, or?
Yeah, I was doing a little bit of both. Um, what was nice being on the team, obviously, was that I get ammo for free, and so I was able to get some. Um, but Frank, my buddy Frank, he was again very generous in letting me use his setup for reloading because he had just moved to open and he's shooting 38 super, so his other rig was basically being unused. So I was like, say less, I'll load some and load as cheap as I possibly can, I guess. But and then I think it wasn't it wasn't far after being picked up by Da Vinci that I talked to John from Outdoor, and we started that relationship. So it really wasn't that long after. So I think it was honestly pretty quick, and I
Hmm.
started just shooting his ammo.
Right. That's just
So
got to be easy for
thankfully,
you. You don't have to worry about pulling the handle. You can just have it shipped to you, and it makes it easy. I'll say that.
that part's nice.
Hmm. Now, did you feel like when you first started shooting his ammo, did you feel like it was perfect right away, or did you need to feel like you needed it tweaked?
He gave so his the first stuff that I was shooting was, what was it? I believe it was some arms core projectiles, and I think he went and eventually switched over to 120, the coated ones. Um, his first batch that he made that he gave to me, they were pretty much exactly almost feel the same as what I'm shooting right now. He gave me another batch and it was a little softer because he was working with Christina Baker, and they were kind of going back and forth with some different loads, and it was a little softer, so it wasn't really to my liking. And then when I got the new stuff that he's making right now, that was basically, I'm enjoying that, so that is perfect for what I'm looking for.
Well, that's good. Yeah, and John's so great to work with. I love it when I get a
Oh
hold of him and he's just like, "What do you need?" and like get it done,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's pretty good. Now, we talked, I think pre-show is you're headed to, New Hampshire here in the next couple days to go shoot that match with him because he's the title sponsor. Um does that put more pressure on you because you are sponsored, or you just know you're going to be able to go out there and shoot?
Uh, I'm I'm in the right now. So for me, in general, I'm just happy that I get to go out and shoot
Mhm.
at this point. You know, when I was doing it essentially full time, or as I guess you would call it, job, it's you just kind of don't realize like how good it is, and then when it's not there anymore, you're like, oh well, like now I get to pay for ammo, I got to pay for travel, like, and then it kind of comes down. You're like, wow, I can't do this as often as I want to, and so at this point, I'm just happy that I get to go out and shoot, and
Mhm.
generally, and the fact that I got two people or a family of people that um, believe that I'm right for to represent their brand and go out there and shoot for them. That I'm just in itself thankful. So any opportunity that I can just to go out and just be with the friends that I like, I've made along the way and people I care about, like that's good for me. So I'm just happy to shoot.
Fair enough. Now,
Yeah.
um so you've shot other major matches, Caribbean, Area 6. Did you go to South Carolina?
No, I did not.
Okay. But you've shot a decent amount of major matches this year, and I've also seen that you've been being a range official.
That's fun. That's been awesome.
Yeah. Now, now, from going of being a Marine Corps shooter, on the team, you go as the team, you shoot on the match day, and then you leave, right? How is that? How was your first time being a range official at a match? How did that experience go for you?
Awesome. I
Hmm.
could tell you it was awesome. I really enjoyed it.
Hmm.
Like really enjoyed it. And I think it helps when you know the majority of people there because one, they're in the area that you pretty much that you shoot the majority of your time. We knew a lot of them from like last year when we were traveling and shooting. So it wasn't like I'm going into a new environment with completely new people, and I just it just you're just kind of figuring it out. No, it was super inviting. Everyone was having we just had a great time, and I didn't realize I was going to enjoy it that much, but I really enjoyed it. So I'm hoping that any opportunity I can work, I'm going to work for sure.
Right. So, was it your first one that was not Mid Atlantic, or was
No,
it?
that was Delmarva.
Oh yeah,
That was my first one.
the rainstorm.
Yeah, that. Yes, yes, the water fountain.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Were you squatted with Galnet
Uh, was that with Gilnet? No. What are you talking about when I worked the stage? Or are you talking about for staff day?
staff day?
Oh, was I? Man, he's gonna kill me if I forget. I don't think so.
All right, well, fair enough. I mean,
I don't remember.
he's kind of hard to miss. He wears all orange. I
Oh,
mean,
of course, of course. I just don't remember if he was. I don't remember if he was with me.
yeah.
Man, I don't think so. I don't remember if it was.
Well, fair enough. But yeah,
Yeah,
now have you ever shot in that much of a downpour before?
I have. Yes. Not in a match per se.
But for
I've
work.
come for work and stuff. Yeah, of course. But I've been to. I think I've been done like two matches where it was like raining, but not. I think that was like the worst I've shot in.
Hmm.
It just didn't stop.
Well, at least you were wearing shorts, so at least like your pants weren't fully wet, but I mean, your whole body was covered in mud at that point.
Yeah, I like the rain like a lot. I really enjoy like being dirty and just embracing the misery, I guess. I actually enjoy that. So it was just a good time.
Right. Yeah. And I think it's honestly hanging out with like ROs and stuff is like one of the best times ever. I mean, shooters, just regular shooters are great, but I mean, like when I go work a match, like all the stories I hear from people who've been in the sport longer than me,
Yeah,
they're just awesome.
yeah,
Like, because
yeah. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
no, you're fine. Go right ahead.
Yeah, because yeah, I was with Larry Talbot. I was with Chris. I was with Derek, and man, we were on it. We were just on it, running an efficient stage and just having a good time, just
Hmm.
enjoying the day. That was a good time.
Right. So, what made you originally? Well, first off, are you a certified range official?
No, no,
Okay. So
just an
what
RO.
made so then so what made you want to go and staff a match?
So it actually didn't. It wasn't like a want. It was actually almost a necessity. So we applied to work these matches last season um, before the year started, and that I was still on the team at the time. And the reason why we did that is because we weren't able to afford to shoot as many matches, at least funded from the battalion.
Hmm.
And in order for us to shoot more matches, we we wanted to go work matches in order to shoot for staff day and then also get the experience. So we got our RO certs. Um, I think sometime in the summer. I forget what it was, or was it fall? And by then, we just found an opportunity. Like, yeah, I guess if we want to be able to shoot more matches and not have to pay because we couldn't afford it, the best way to do it would be to work. And then unbeknownst when we ended up doing it, obviously, I actually didn't realize it was going to be as fun as it was.
Hmm.
So that was kind of a cool opportunity. But yeah, that it originally just became a necessity. We were not going to be able to shoot as many matches, and in order to do it, we had to work them.
Hmm. So that's kind of my same predicament. I want to go shoot all these matches, but it's just not financially feasible. So you go work a bunch of matches.
Of course.
So you've worked what, Delmarva and Area 6 so far.
Yes.
Do you have
So far.
any other matches that you're working this year?
I'm not scheduled at least. I was asking around about possibly like applying for to work at a match like somewhat last second because my schedule and the way my job works is that I can't really schedule things super far out because our workflow and which it's very inconsistent. There's just a lot of stuff pops up. So uh, but I was assured that if a lot of people end up dropping sometimes before a match, so I mean, any match that I can make, I will try. I was actually originally supposed to work Mid Atlantic. Team was there for that match. I was supposed to work that one as well, but I got placed on a last minute trip to California for work, and I came back halfway through the match. So I had to drop out of that,
Hmm.
unfortunately. But
That's
any
unfortunate.
opportunity, I'll take.
Hmm. Well, that's good to hear. So you worked Area 6. I mean, that was probably the biggest match you've worked. Well, you only worked a couple, so probably Area
Yeah.
6 has been the biggest match. Did that put more since it was an area match? Did it put more pressure on you to perform as an RO or no?
No, no, I was told this is how you do the job, and I said, okay, that I'll do the best I can.
Hmm.
If you give me a job to do, I will do. I'll make sure I will do it at the best of my ability. So it doesn't matter what that might be, but in this case, if I wanted to ensure that if I'm going to RO someone, especially at that level, I would give them I would be the best RO I could possibly be for them, if that makes sense. And it means being as far away as I possibly can, but still, picking up time, ensuring that everything in safety is being followed, and I'm being fair, and like everything. I wanted to be able to make sure that I'm hitting all points of the square, I guess you can call it. As so, I just was told to do it. And I was like, all right, let's make the best out of it.
Mm-hmm. Now, how is ROing in flip flops?
It's pretty easy. Funny enough, you're gonna get dirty, but it's actually pretty easy. I'm
Yeah,
actually wearing the same flip flops and the same shorts
there you
right
go.
now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I saw some people taking pictures of you in your flip flops. I'm like, oh my lord, like I could not do it. Like the shorts maybe, but the flip
yeah.
flops,
Oh man, I wear flip flops a lot, so it's not much harder.
right? Now are those standard issue flip flops, or did you go get your own bougie flip flops?
You know what? If I went with the good old issued ones, that'd be they would have broken a long time ago. So I had to get the bougie ones.
There you go. Now, since you've shot both matches, well, better question is, have you shot a staff reset match yet, where the staff is reset for you?
I did. I'd shot last year's Carolina Classic.
Okay.
That was my first ever staff reset.
So what did you think? So if you had to pick, what would you prefer, competitor reset or staff reset?
The the I guess the luxury answer to that is obviously the staff reset because you don't have to do anything.
Hmm.
But I think I noticed that there were some pros and cons to it, at least for me personally. When there's a lot of downtime, like you're just doing nothing.
Hmm.
If you're doing the staff reset, and I think that when you're doing like a normal match where you're resetting yourself, you're kind of staying in the zone. You're basically your mind's kind of getting more, I guess, uh, focused on the task at hand. In this case, you're being more aware of where you are in the order and things of that sort. I think that, at least for me personally, I got a little lost sometimes. I was just kind of like having conversations, having a good time, and then I was like, "Oh shoot, I'm up," and I wasn't really paying attention because we have so much downtime. So I think it's nice to have the staff reset because you're just there to shoot and that's it. Excuse me. Um, but I think there is an element of having a normal match where it keeps you focused because you're constantly engaged with something, and that keeps you in the loop of what's going on. So I don't know. I do prefer the definitely those staff reset. But I know there's a benefit of staying active.
Hmm. Right.
So
Well, which I agree with too. It's definitely a challenge for a lot of people to stay in the groove with it with staff reset because you're just chilling with your buddies and then they're like you can definitely be like it's been so long since I've shot again. You get cold because you're not up
yeah,
there. You're not pasting,
right.
but not yeah. So but you worked area 6 and that's a big staff reset match. How did that feel? Did you feel overworked or did you feel that you could have you could have gone 20 more squads or
Yeah, yeah. I just give me a couple more Red Bulls and some water. I'll keep going.
right? Our Red
Yeah,
Bull
no, it
standard
was good.
issue.
Hey, Monster's making a killing right now. I can tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite flavor then?
Monster.
Hmm.
It was the peach rehab. Man, I was slamming peach rehab. I was slamming rehabs like it was
Hmm.
no other one. But yeah, I think any of the
Hmm.
sugar free ones, and for sure the rehabs. Ooh, they're so good.
Yeah, I agree. The peach were pretty good. But yeah, so how many more majors do you have this year?
Not many. I have. I guess you consider New Hampshire one. Uh, I have Nationals, Care Optics Nats, which is in 2 weeks. I guess you can go measure. I have PCC Nats. I think I'm supposed to be shooting the IPSC National ones, I believe, and I think I'm going to shoot Battle for North Coast.
Oh,
Those
okay.
are the ones that are on the docket right now. I do shoot this other match called RPGI. Their day and night match, which is held by the group RPGI out of Florida. That happens every year, and it's getting bigger and bigger. So I definitely, if a match is happening in this area, I definitely hit it. So that's been awesome.
Gotcha. That's pretty cool. Um, hmm. I asked this to so I had Craig teammate Craig McElhaney. I recorded with him last night, and we were
Yeah.
talking about his SWAT time. Has any of your competition stuff transferred over to the military side? or is it more that the military stuff has transitioned over to the competition side?
For me personally, or just
Yeah, for you
kind of
personally.
okay. Uh, yes and no.
Hmm.
If I'm gonna let's talk. I'll say we'll start with like how the comp stuff affected military stuff. Um, my ability as a shooter improved because of the competition stuff, because I focused and spent. I invested time. I invested, um, mainly time, but time and money into getting better as a shooter, focusing on isolating skills and just being a better shooter in general, and what that took. Then, and so whenever I would do something for work in the military side, I noticed that a lot of those skills obviously transferred over because I'm just doing the same exact thing. Maybe the task is different, but the aspect of just solely marksmanship has improved overall. And then for military side, um, it's funny because like I correlate my comp stuff to the military because I started shooting competition because of the military.
Hmm.
So that's actually where I started in anyway. And so, and funny enough, this program that I'm working that I work for now, it's actually taken the practical shooting side and it's now being the kind of the thing that we're teaching for the vast majority of the Marine Corps. Well, not to the Marine Corps, but a good portion of our O3s or infantry side. So we took our practical side shooting experiences and we applied it to this program, and now we're seeing a huge improvement on marksmanship as a whole. So I think the comp stuff really realistically affected the mill side a little more
Hmm.
in this scenario.
Gotcha. So you've referred to it a couple times. What it says AMTP, right, on your
Mm-hmm.
shirt?
Yes.
Can you
Mm-hmm.
explain what that is for us?
Absolutely. Yeah. So it's the Advanced Marksmanship Training Program. It was an idea. So this is basically the solution to the Marine Corps solution, more or less, to teach marksmanship in a different direction. We have been focused on teaching marksmanship based off bullseye, basically, like bullseye rifle. This has been going on for over 100 years. And um, we needed to find a solution on how to improve upon that rather, and improve our, yeah, sure, scores and lethality, right? That those words get like lethality and things like that. That gets thrown around a lot because it's military, but we wanted to overall improve marksmanship as a whole. And the AMTP was a mix and match of different people that took the practical shooting sports, basically, or their experience with practical shooting and the tactical side. And we're blending it together to create a curriculum to teach isolated skills on pistol and rifle, building them up to a certain standard as we go. And they cannot continue or pass, so to speak, until they have met that standard. Um, a lot of rounds are shot. A lot of in-depth knowledge is kind of explained through the curriculum, and so it gives not only just a shooting package, so to speak, for them to improve as shooters, but they are also learning the inner workings of how do you get to that point, right? And
Hmm.
that's, I'm talking like wind. When you're talking about rifle, like wind and barricade works, and using ballistic calculators and things of that sort. Pistol, how does it relate, and what transfer skills can we use for pistol into rifle, stances, that kind of stuff. How to identify a problem and be able to fix that issue, and especially if they're going to be the ones trying to train other Marines with the same curriculum. So
Hmm.
it's a huge program that we've improved and taken what we learned in the practical sports and just applying it to the military. And we're seeing some huge improvement, huge improvement.
Well, that's awesome. Now, is it kind of like train the trainer, where you'll teach people for certain units, or is it you get a mass group of Marines together and you have to teach like what 50 to 100 people at once?
So we do both. So we have our initial, which is the first course you go through, and then we have our T3. So teach the trainer.
Hmm.
You have to obviously complete the first one in order to go to the T3. The initial is, well, we actually cap at 24 students at a time. And the
Hmm.
reason why we chose that number is based off of, we wanted to ensure that the instructor to student ratio was as close to 1-to-1 as possible, in order to ensure the highest quality of instruction for the curriculum, right? The more we found that obviously the more students we have with less instructors, the more watered down it becomes, and the less they're going to receive, as far as especially in the time frame that we're given. So in order to keep that quality the same, and we basically stopped at a certain number, and that's where we kind of keep it at, to ensure that they are actually getting not only quality time, but just time between us as student to instructor to actually get and learn to hit this point of a standard.
Gotcha. Now, when you teach an initial, how many days or hours do you get with that 24 students?
So we do 10 training. We do 2 weeks, or essentially 10 training days. It is first day is I'll only go into like the first day. The rest kind of just goes into obviously the curriculum. But the first day, which is my favorite day, is the dry fire night. And because we have a huge spectrum of variation of experience with firearms, I guess you could say. I'm talking pistol and rifle. We are the purpose of this first night is to basically induce forced muscle memory. And what this is it's a close to 8 to 10 hour dry fire session through the night, and they don't stop until they complete the task. So it starts around 18 to 1900, and then it goes all the way into the early or late morning, depending on the individual, depending on the class. And it may sound a little ridiculous, but with the amount of time that we have with these students and the expectation that we have for them to hit a certain standard or performance, goal, we have to get them to perform very specific tasks very, very well. And in order to do that, they have to go through a lot of dry fire. And so we're utilizing dry fire as a metric to get them to that point. And so it is 10 perfect reps of breaking down the very specific skills of, let's call it the draw, maybe the reloads, and they don't pass and they don't move on until they pass 10 iterations. And this can go from anywhere from our earliest we've ever done it was 6 hours, and the latest we've done was close to 10 to 11 hours straight. Yeah. And we also are introducing problems, and I'm talking like stressors. So like, they get frustrated, they're getting tired. So mental fitness, having them getting exposed to having to be able to deal with a problem. And in this specific case, it's being tired and being stressed out and being pissed off because, like I said, their buddies are not getting it, but they are. Having them to be able to get through that point and still accomplish the task and make sure that everyone else does. So it's kind of like twofer in a sense, just without saying it.
Right. So would you say that this the AMTP like that it's encouraging them to take their own training or marksmanship to the next level on their own as well, or do they just? Oh, that's good.
Absolutely. And here's the biggest issue that I saw across the board for the most part, right, is that when we're talking about marksmanship and how we quantify it, qualifying is just it's just a qualifying. It's just you're just being qualified. Like you are now able to use that system. You are at the minimum level, so to speak. You are now qualified, so to speak, on that way. We're not looking for that. We're looking for, we want good shooters. We want thinkers. We want people to be able to apply a weapon system where it's needed and do it proficiently. And I'm talking in any aspect. So if we're able to erase a lot of what we have been doing for the last, 120 years, whatever it might be, and get people to be more proficient. And I'm talking in all spectrums of firearms, weapons, and things like that. And then that we're going to do that, right? And that's kind of the purpose, is to improve marksmanship across the board.
Well, very good. Now, when you usually go into these programs, do you have is it all skill level? Like within those 24 students, do you usually see a high level end student and then someone who's like barely meeting the minimums, or is it more like level lined and you need to bring them all up?
We have a mix and match. Sometimes we get people that, funny enough, we know. Sometimes we just get people that are just they either been shooting on their own time and they have at least some experience, and we get people that have never touched a pistol in their life. So it all comes down to a like group effort, right? you
Mhm.
again don't pass and you don't move on until everyone is passing. And so what you see is you start seeing everyone trying to work together to help individuals accomplish the task, whatever that may be. And at some points, there's a kind of like it's pays to be a winner where you get to relax if you pass. I think that's further in the course, but there is a level of understanding, and because we see a variable of different experiences, sometimes we just have to be very in depth, and sometimes we don't. It just
Mhm.
depends on the class, but we definitely see a whole spectrum of everybody.
Gotcha. So you say that's your favorite day. Is there a day that you actually like, not that you dread and regret it, but is not your
Yeah.
favorite day?
No, not really, to be honest. I love what I do.
Hmm.
I really love it. And it's not, I think I mean, thankfully it's also while I'm in the Marine Corps too, because,
Hmm.
the Marine Corps can be, sometimes not so fun. So, the fact that I'm doing something that I really love to do and it's in the Marine Corps, I think that's pretty awesome. So, but any opportunity to teach something, and knowing that I can I can give someone information and see maybe a light bulb, or maybe they improve just that much a little that much that day,
Hmm.
that in itself is good enough for me. So
Gotcha.
I love what I do, so I can't knock on it.
Right. So, how long until it's time to decide to re-sign up?
Oh no, I'm actually getting out.
Are you? Okay.
Yeah, yeah, I'll be getting out next year.
Okay.
Next year.
So, do you already have plans in motion for um, when you get
Yeah,
discharged?
yeah, I have a couple. I have a couple ideas. One I very much want to go into. I will be pursuing. It just, um, there's the logistic part of it, right? Where the what's kind of nice about the military, right, is that they kind of take care of a lot of things for you.
Hmm.
Whereas when you go back to the real world, that you could go, oh wow, there's I forgot I have to pay for health insurance, and oh my goodness, I have to pay for my food now more.
Yeah.
Things like that. So right. So location and things like that is a big factor. But I have my eyes set on a very specific place. I won't necessarily mention it right now, just just to hold that for me personally. But I'm I'm excited. I'm also very nervous,
Hmm.
but I know that I want to continue this type of work because I really like doing this. I really love doing it. So,
Well, that's awesome.
well, wherever I go.
Now, if they asked you tomorrow and they gave you if they gave you an awesome re-signing deal, would you take it?
No, I
No.
couldn't do it.
Okay.
No, I personally, this I I'm almost 30, and I'm on my second enlistment, so haven't been in long, at least people compared to my age right now, as long. So it's kind of like I see what is available. I see how things are here, and it's not going to be for me later on. I can see better. I see the light.
Right.
I see the light. So
Well, that's good. At least you have a plan for afterwards, and you're not just gonna you're not like a lot of military people who get discharged who then don't know what to do with their life afterwards, which is the unfortunate part for a lot of them.
yeah, I mean, everyone should be prepared. There's an I mean, you can't expect things to happen out of thin air and just magically, right? I mean, being prepared is one thing, and uh, especially, I mean, I can only speak on the Marine Corps. Obviously, I know I have been in the other branches, but you know, some people wait till the last second to start processing out, or you know, trying to figure out what they're going to do, and that's not the move. So it's like you got to really invest in yourself and start like a year out and make sure that you're set to go. It can be weird. It can be hard.
Oh yeah, absolutely, definitely can be. And well, at least you're planning ahead. That's for sure. That's the smart thing. So
Yeah.
when you are not traveling, teaching AM TP, what is your like dry fire slash live fire training look like for your competition stuff?
Yeah. It's not as intense as it used to be. Just because one, it really is time I don't have anymore. This job has been very consuming, so I don't have as much time as I used to. So as long as I can touch a gun every day, it doesn't matter if it's for like 5 minutes or 30 minutes or an hour or whatever it might be. I will try to do it. It used to be nuts. I think I was a little obsessive when I first started shooting. It isn't quite to that extent, but I I try to basically just sustain what I've already built up to this point with both platforms of this for Care Optics and for PCC. So I just try to at least touch it every single day just to make sure that the familiarity, everything just remains familiar, at least for how I touch the gun and things like that. So as long as I do that, it's okay. And I don't get to practice live fire anymore, at least not personally. For work, it's different, but I'm limited to being able to not be able to shoot personals, and so I don't get to do it as much, which kind of sucks. But honestly, my only practice I get is, this is gonna sound weird, but my practice is the matches,
Mm-hmm.
like the major match. I only get to shoot the majors, so like that's kind of my practice.
Right. Well, and I guess
You
that
know.
works for you too. I mean, it gives you what you want to look for to be in your competitions, and definitely lets you puts pressure to you. That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I've got a couple more questions before we wrap this up, but um, right now, if you could think about your whole career in the military, what has been the best moment throughout your time there?
I think it was my summer season back
Hmm.
in 2019, because the summer season went out for the teams was probably one of the happiest times of my life. My happiest 3 months of my life in the military was that, because I didn't. I went from not being able to own a firearm to never even. I didn't even know the team existed, and I didn't even think about competition shooting. I just knew that I liked guns. To being given like a $13,000 setup for 3 gun, and getting paid to go shoot matches and travel and meet like the most incredible people that I've ever met at that point, and it started my relationships with, the people I know now, people that I consider like my mentors, and
Hmm.
people that I very much look up to and I still look up to. And so that that 3 month period was just super, it was life changing, but it was also just, I mean, it was eye opening because I got to see a different world, a world that I never thought I could touch, just because one, I couldn't afford it, and then two, it was just, I didn't know how to get started, and it just kind of was like, here, have at it. And I was like, wow, this is wild. So that summer season was probably the highlight of
Hmm.
this short career. It was pretty
Right.
wild.
Well, fair enough. That's pretty cool. You're always going to have those mentors and people that you respect and look up to, and it's always nice to remember that summer fondly. But we got to go to a not so fun time and boot camp. I'm assuming since you're from Southern California, you went to Lejeune.
No, no, I was in Pendleton,
Oh,
MCRD,
oh, they
not
kept.
Pendleton. I'm sorry, but I was in MCRD.
Okay.
Yeah, so San Diego.
Oh, that's surprising. That usually, at least from my understanding, and most people I know, is that it seems like if you're on the East Coast, you live on the East Coast, you go to California, and if you're vice versa, you go to Lejeune. It seems like.
It's opposite. So for boot camp,
Hmm.
if you're west of the Mississippi, you go to San Diego,
Okay.
MCRD. And if you are obviously on the opposite side, you are going to not Lejeune, but oh my goodness, I haven't slept yet. Sorry, but you do go yeah you go down to South Carolina, and so it only happens when you're like getting stationed somewhere,
Hmm.
and so excuse me, so yeah, it only happens when you're getting stationed somewhere. So if you're a West Coast, individual that live there, they will typically sometimes send you to the opposite direction just to give you a different area. You can request to stay in the area. It just depends. I mean,
Right.
realistically. So my experience was I was sent to the complete. Like I went to Okinawa first, then to Lejeune. I never touched the West Coast.
Gotcha.
So yeah, never ever.
So back to boot camp. Let's see. What did you have fun at boot camp? Was that such a thing?
Yeah, it's funny. So I was one of the older guys in I guess the platoon, and so I was 23, and there was another guy the same age as me, and we were the two oldest, and most of them were 17, 18, 19 years old. So I mean we weren't worlds apart, but I guess you can say we had we were a little bit more mature
Hmm.
compared to the other guys. So I knew it was a game,
Mhm.
and that's kind of how boot camp is. It's a game, right? You just got to play it. Drill instructors have a job, the staff have a job, and their job is to get you to do the tasks that they're given, right? And so I just played the game, had a great time because I knew, realistic because it's make believe at the most part, right? You just kind of just do the task, and once you pass, you're done. And I also had a great time with the buddy that I was with. He was one of my bunk mates, and I just had a great. I just was like, all right, we're just gonna do it. Let's have at it.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Well,
it
there you
wasn't
go.
that bad.
Right. So it's not as bad as they make it off to be in like the movies of everyone going to boot camp.
No, no, you're talking like, yeah, you're talking about the older films now.
Yeah. No,
For some
exactly.
people, I'm sure maybe maybe boot camp was hard for some people. You are away from your family. You don't, at least at the time, because boot camp has changed recently, as I think. But yeah, you're isolated. You don't get phone calls. You don't get nothing, right? So
Mhm.
nowadays, I think it's a little different, which is weird, but that's another thing.
Right. It's not you're not in control of that, so you can't do anything about it. So
No.
right. So I guess we talked about him a little bit in the beginning of the show or in the middle. But you said now that you're part of AMTP,
hmm
um, you're able to have sponsors. You want to go ahead and plug them now?
Yeah, absolutely. So I shoot for Da Vinci Machining and Outdoor Dynamics over with John, and they have been very supportive, and I'm just very happy that these individuals were willing to give me an opportunity to represent the brand, but also to shoot their products. And I'm David Da Vinci has been just super support because one, they've sent me to very they sent me to the Caribbean, um, and the product that they are making, this particular PCC, has been fantastic. It's not, and I'm not saying it just because I have that sponsorship. It's a product and a quality rifle just across the board. I've been very very happy from what it does. It just keeps chugging, especially if you put like good ammo through it. It's not stopping. So I have been very very pleased with the platform. I've put it through some personal testing as far as hotter ammo, softer ammo, really really bad environments, and it's done fantastically. And then John has been super awesome. He's great great guy, and he and his ammo has been fantastic. And I can't say enough. He's a great guy to work with and shoot for. And I'm really really happy to have the teammates that I have with each team. So they've been great, really really
Mhm.
awesome.
Well, that's awesome to hear. I mean, from all that I hear, I speak highly of John. I don't know, I haven't interacted with David much, but everyone loves his PCC. So it's nice to see them supporting you in your endeavors of competition shooting and them growing their brands as well. But I guess we're here there. If people wanted to get a hold of you on the internet, where's the best way to get a hold of you?
Sure. Just Instagram, Joshua C_C. Uh, I try to be on it as much as I possibly can and post. I'm pretty bad at that kind of stuff. Just social media is not my thing, but I do the best I can with it. So if anyone is interested in Da Vinci's PCCs or the ammo, or just wants to talk about, um, you know, USPSA, the sports, and getting better for certain things or recommendations and things like that. Like, I'm open for any conversation. If even if you want to just say hello, I'm always up for a chat. So yeah, Joshua C_C. You'll see me as Cardi B for the most part,
Hmm.
and yeah, that's the only place you'll find me.
Oh, fair enough. Well, Josh, thank you, brother, for coming on here. It's been a blast and getting to deep dive and get to know more about you and get put a name and a voice to the face that they see on the internet or at a match. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, man, thanks for having me. I don't know if you could tell, I'm not used to like plugging stuff in, and it's just, this is a new type of lingo that I have to, I'm more like, it's like, yes, I am Sergeant Cardenas and things like that. Now it's like plug stuff is a little foreign to me. So I'm like, oh, I guess I did that right.
Well, I mean, if it's the worst part is you don't do it, but hey, it's all good. So,
Yeah.
but
So,
Josh,
but
thanks for coming on, sir, and thank you for your service. And listeners, until next time, get out and do the things, and I will see you on the next one.